Can I just say that this episode made so much more sense and yet still kept the impact that last week's episode had regarding action. And what I mean by made so much sense is because last week I was just kind of like, what? Because majority of the episode of last week was Goku versus Caulifla. Eventually Kale jumped in and they were kind of jumping Goku or whatever. And this week continued it. But the difference between last week and this week is because I've always been in, I said it in my review from last week or whatever, is the fact that Goku should be kicking ass, you know what I'm saying? Especially in his fight against Caulifla, I'm like, no matter if she's Super Saiyan 2, and Goku's fighting at that same level, he has the power far greater than a Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2, even if he's fighting at that level. So this week, even though he's fighting at that level, you gotta take into account, one, yeah, he is getting jumped by two people, so it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, but once he made the transition, which I love, and call it fan service or whatever, and personally, I think that they got the idea from Toyotaro to bring back the Red God form, which I'm kind of curious if the anime is going to have Vegeta go into it, because in the manga, during the Goku Black stuff, Vegeta actually used Red form, but that's kind of irrelevant. Once Goku went into that mode, it was like a whole different ball game against Kale and Caulifla. And that's the fact that that mode is more efficient than the blue form, but it's weaker than the blue form. It's not as strong as the blue form. And once he went into that, he was almost playing with them. He was like shooting little beams and shit. And I was like, yes, because at the end of the day, no matter what, a God form should be a whole different ball game compared to a couple of Super Saiyans or Super Saiyan 2s or legendary Super Saiyan, whatever the case may be. He should still be in a league of his own, and I was very, very grateful that it made sense. And it was like, yeah, Goku went into God mode. It was a wrap for Kale and Caulifla. They stood no chance once Goku made the transition. That's probably why Goku didn't want to go into that form so soon earlier on, aside from the fact that, he's been weakened once again due to the fact of what happened in episodes 109 and 110 versus Jiren. He got his ass kicked and shit like that. But also, I think Goku, he wanted to use that as an opportunity to train yet again. It's like, if he goes into God mode, what training is he really going to get, right? Because he's going to immediately knock these kids out like they nothing and shit like that. So the fact that he waited a while, was like, Goku knew what the hell he was doing. And this episode of Dragon Ball Super, I believe episode 114, a lot of action, but also some interesting bits as well. I mean, for starters, we got a little bit more of Vegeta versus Toppo, which I think that's rightfully the way they placed everything, what should happen, because at the end of the day, really, the top dog is Jiren, and Goku is the top dog, so Goku versus Jiren. And then rightfully it would be Vegeta versus Toppo. Vegeta getting that blow in on Toppo, I'm like, I see what you're doing, because if we go back and we remember when Goku went up against Toppo was giving him a run for his money in the Super Saiyan Blue form and whatnot, so Vegeta should have a good fight with Toppo as well. And then we've seen as well that during the episode, Toppo got some hands in on Vegeta, so it's a pretty good fight. I wish we would get a little bit more focus on that, and hopefully once this Kale and Caulifla fight is over, maybe we'll get more of a focus on it, because I do want to see, and I think a lot of us want to see our boy Vegeta get some shine. So seeing Vegeta versus Toppo here and there, I'm like, man, just save it for at least one full episode, whether it's 116 or 117, to just see the climax of Vegeta versus Toppo, because I am really interested in that. Toppo, at the end of the day, he is a candidate, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember if they said in the anime, I do know in the manga, that he's pretty much one of the candidates to become a god of destruction someday. So to see Vegeta versus him is like, that was a good moment. It was scarce. It wasn't really all throughout the episode. We saw little glimpses here or there, but it was enough to make me feel like I want to see more of that. And then Frieza. Man, I've said it so many times, and I gotta say it again. This is the Frieza that we deserve. This is the Frieza that we wanna see, opposed to what we got in Resurrection F. Because even in this one, you see that papaya man looking motherfucker that was trying to do like, bro, what do you think you're doing against Frieza? Are you crazy right now? Even Frieza's like, this guy's a clown. And him getting in, you can definitely see that Frieza is having an internal struggle in and of himself to not just go completely crazy, because we know that he absolutely loathes Saiyans. Between the history of what he did to them back in the day, how he obliterated Planet Vegeta because he was scared and so on and so forth of what the Saiyans could become someday with Super Saiyan and all that other shit. But you can see, it's like, it's really tearing him apart that he has to play by these rules right now, because I mean, you got Beerus right there that he'll rip his head off at the end of the day. Frieza got some strength, but he knows as of right now what his part is and how strong these people are and what they could really do to him. You know what I'm saying? Zeno, oh, you want to mess around? Bam. So Frieza, you can definitely see throughout the episode and the past couple episodes as well, but you definitely see that he is just like, it's almost tormenting him that like he sees these Saiyans and he want to rip them all apart. He want to get Goku. He want to get Vegeta. He even want to get Kale and Caulifla, and they really have nothing to do with his hatred other than the fact of their bloodline, but they're not even from our universe. You know what I'm saying? They're Universe 6 Saiyans, but you could definitely see when he's jumping in there, and it's not that he want to help Goku by any means. He's just like, these nasty Saiyans, like, ugh. So you definitely see that Frieza's holding himself back from really doing some deadly shit. I could tell that Frieza wants to just kill them. He don't even want to fight them. He just wants to obliterate them completely because he hates Saiyans. Between what Trunks did to him, Goku did to him, everything that's happened, you could definitely see in this episode, Frieza, he has it in him. And after this tournament is all said and done, and he's able to do what he wants, if Kale and Caulifla become a part of the main cast, which, fingers crossed, please. I don't know whether Champa gets pissed off at them or they're the remnants of Universe 6. I want them to become a part of the main cast. And if Frieza somehow, whether if, Universe 7 is the victors of this, which I believe they will be, there's no other way, you know what I'm saying? Then they gotta hold up their end of the bargain and revive Frieza. And I could definitely see Frieza on a warpath, whether they do some anime-only shit of Frieza's one more time, trying to get them or whatever. You could definitely see that Frieza wants to get his hands on Kale and Caulifla because you could see the blood boiling. And it was very subtle because we only got a few moments of Frieza in this episode as well. But you even see Goku had to grab his hand and say, bro, what do you think you're doing? So, interesting stuff with Frieza. Subtle, but interesting enough. And then throughout the episode, it's Goku versus Kale and Caulifla. And then, of course, and I've been saving to talk about it, the fusion. Because when I heard about fusion, and I seen the spoilers and the preview and stuff like that, I was like, before we even knew it was Potara, before we knew what type of fusion it was going to be, I was hoping, I was like, please don't let it be a case of similar to what happened during the Universe 6 tournament, where Vegeta was instructing Kaba throughout it. I was really hoping it wasn't going to be a case of Goku showing them the fusion dance or Goku pulling earrings out of his ass or something, or some last minute thing. I was really happy and glad the way the setup was for the fusion for them. It was before the tournament even began. Champa knew of fusion, so it really makes me interested to see how much does Universe 6 know about certain aspects of what we know in Universe 7. Obviously, Champa is aware of the fusion. I'm not sure if he was put on, so to speak, by GodTube of, Vegeta or whatever, or he just already knew about it, because obviously he got him from his Supreme Kai from Universe 6 or whatever. So you could definitely see that Champa is at the very least aware, and he set this shit up. So I was like, another bullet dodge. This episode, it was like, it took a lot of our worries, because I had a lot of worries. I had a lot of worries of, one, like, are Kale and Caulifla really gonna give Goku a run for his money, especially if he goes into God mode? And didn't happen. Goku went God mode and there was no chance for them. Also, I was worried, like, how is this fusion gonna happen? Is it gonna be Goku once again doing stupid shit and teaching them? No, it was pre-planned by their own universe and their own thing. And I love Caulifla, and this is why, because people ask, why do you like Caulifla so much? You know what I'm saying? I love her badassery. Like, even throughout the fight, when she's doing that little hopping stance with her fists and shit like that, it gives her her own personality, opposed to just being dry or whatever. Like, you see Kale, she has that kind of wimpy, oh my god, sis, she wants that Caulifla pee, you know what I'm saying? But Caulifla is like, she's her own thing, and, just the small little subtleties of her doing the jumping bob with her fists and shit like that. That's why I like Caulifla. She has her own personality. She's badass, and it goes into, she looked like she was a thug when we first met her, when everybody was rounding up to get people to participate in the Tournament of Power. So cool shit on Caulifla. And then of course the fusion. I'm curious to see, because you really got to think, okay, they described it, I believe it was Vados that said fusion, it does a multiplication of like times 10. So whatever their power would be combined, then you multiply it times 10. That's what the strength would be, right? So you got to think, okay, there were a couple of Super Saiyan 2s, right? Maybe you could argue that Kale was way above that because she's done some demolition. And of course, we're going to talk quickly too here in a second about her losing her mind and once again regaining it or whatever. But like, is that enough to go up against gods? Is it because she's seen maybe the god modes that she's able to replicate something like that, or because she's seen Ultra Instinct when Goku was going up against Jiren? I'm kind of curious. I'm sticking with my theory that either next episode or the following episode, depending on how long this episode or this fight, shall I say, goes on, I do think that Kefla, which I thought it was going to be Kefla, but it's Kefla. I think that they're going to go Super Saiyan 3. It's going to be a repetition of what we've seen with Goten and Trunks with the Gotenks thing or whatever, how they've seen one time Goku did it and, they were able to do it. I believe that's going to be the case, but realistically, is it enough, Kefla, to go up against a Super Saiyan God? Okay, maybe the red form, maybe you could argue, again, because Kale has this weird, abnormal power or whatever, maybe the red form, but when Goku eventually does say, I gotta break out blue, I gotta go all out, and I gotta do the Kaioken and shit like that, is that gonna be enough? I don't know. I think, even up against the red form, I'm still a little bit like, because no matter what, you always got to look at it, okay, fusion, yeah, it does increase the power tremendously, but it's not like it automatically matches you up against whoever you're fighting, right? Like, if Mr. Satan and Piccolo did fusion, it's not like it's going to do great things, so all of a sudden they could be Beerus, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm a little bit skeptical on the realism of how strong they're going to be when all is said and done against Goku. We've seen towards the very end, we got a glimpse of their speed, and they were, blitzing against Goku, which previously Goku was playing with them in his God form, you know what I'm saying? He was beaming at them, and they had no chance. He kicked their ass and shit like that. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm a little bit skeptical again, though, regarding how it's going to make sense of them being able to keep up with a Super Saiyan God, or a Super Saiyan Blue for that matter, right? And then quickly to touch up on Kale losing it again. Wasn't a fan of that either, I gotta be honest with you guys. I feel as though that was a hurdle I thought we overwent, but it seems as though every time Kale goes another level beyond regarding her strength, she's gonna lose it. So there's a possibility this could be a repetitious thing where she's gonna try and obtain some strength and lose it again. Maybe if she tries to go Super Saiyan 3 on her own, she'll lose it again and have to regain it. So it was kind of like we already went over this hurdle. It was repeating something that we went over, whereas like she loses it, and looking at Caulifla and remembering things is what snaps her back to reality. So wasn't a fan of that moment either. I felt as though that was unnecessary. It's like she should have been past that point. Just me, but they always want to connect this whole Broly mythology with Kale and, her hulking look. Because, at the end of the day, she's female Broly. And I'm going to keep saying that no matter what, she will always be female Broly. As a whole, this episode, it made so much more sense than the last episode and a couple of the episodes. Goku, when he was getting jumped, even though he's stronger than Caulifla, in that form of Super Saiyan 2 or whatever the case may be, getting jumped is going to be difficult. He goes into God mode. They ain't shit. That's what's supposed to happen. The setup for Potara fusion, it was done before the tournament. Champa did that. It makes sense. Good shit there. And then the end in the fusion, that's the only thing that has me a little bit worried. But as a whole, this episode, it was a fucking great episode. It was fucking phenomenal. I loved it. The action, the intensity, art and animation was pretty good. Nothing too spectacular on the level of Goku versus Jiren, but it was enough to satisfy my thirst for that crazy action that Dragon Ball delivers, and only Dragon Ball can deliver in that intensity and that environment, even in a tournament. So great shit. We got a little more Frieza, Vegeta versus Toppo. I already mentioned a couple of criticisms I had of the episode. I didn't like going over the Kale going berserk yet again. That was unnecessary to touch up on. And the realism of how they're going to be able to keep up with Goku, regardless if they're fusion. Even if they go Super Saiyan 3, we've seen, and I mentioned this before, Beerus when he fought against Super Saiyan 3 Goku, even though they're fused, it's like, I guess we gotta wait and see, because I think they shouldn't even be able to sense Goku, right? When he's in his Super Saiyan God form, because they can't sense God Ki, right? So it's gonna be interesting to see if they can pull it off to make it feel, at the very least, somewhat realistic. But I'm kind of curious what you guys thought about this episode. Again, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Great episode, great action, and it reminds us all why we fell in love with the Dragon Ball franchise going to Z to begin with. That awesome action that continues to build upon and build upon. Do you feel as though this episode made sense power scaling wise of once Goku went God mode, it was a wrap for them? They couldn't keep up anymore, or you still felt a little bit and how do you feel now that they've fused? They got the fusion of, Caulifla and Kale going into Kefla, them being able to keep up when Goku goes ultimately into, Super Saiyan Blue. Do you think it's going to make sense? Do you think Goku's going to need to try again to whip out Ultra Instinct to completely take them out? I mean, do you even see Goku ever touching Ultra Instinct again? Or is it going to be, we got to wait a whole other arc, or the rematch against Jiren? What are your thoughts on that? And what do you think about Kefla, baby? I'm excited. I love the fact that seemingly she got the same personality as Caulifla, so she kept Caulifla's personality. She's way stronger. She don't look as cool as Caulifla. I don't know. I don't really care for her attire like that, but she's still fucking awesome. And yeah, what your overall thoughts of the episode? Honestly, I felt great episode. 9 out of 10. Made so much more sense than a couple of the other episodes that had anything to do with Goku versus Caulifla, and of course Kale joining the fray. But yeah, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, bow! Have an awesome day. Kefla, baby. Goku. Shit is intense. This is that DBZ level of action. Have an awesome one.